In a moment, I'm going to share a question with you that one of our members posted in one of our private membership groups. It's about sleep. It's about an extreme sleep schedule that includes staying up all night that makes her feel so alive, and she wanted my feedback. I'm Alex Sharfin, and this is the Momentum Podcast, made for empire builders, game changers, trailblazers, shot takers, record breakers, world makers, and creators of all kinds. Those among us who can't turn it off and don't know why anyone would want to. We challenge complacency, destroy apathy, and we are obsessed with creating momentum so we can roll over bureaucracy and make our greatest contribution. Sure, we pay attention to their rules, but only so that we can bend them, break them, then rewrite them around our own will. We don't accept our destiny, we define it. We don't understand defeat because you only lose if you stop, and we don't know how. While the rest of the world strives for average and clings desperately to the status quo, we are the minority, the few, who are willing to hallucinate there could be a better future, and instead of just daydreaming of what could be, we endure the vulnerability and exposure it takes to make it real. We are the evolutionary hunters, clearly the most important people in the world, because entrepreneurs are the only source of consistent, positive human evolution, and we always will be. Sleep is frustrating. Let's be honest. You may love it as an entrepreneur. It may be something that makes you feel renewed. It may be something that's exciting for you, but can we be real? As entrepreneurs, if we could skip sleep altogether, we would. If we could just continue to build and grow and make things happen, there's no way we would lay down unless we absolutely had to. Now, one of the things that I coach entrepreneurs I work with on obsessively is sleep. I'm obsessed with sleep. I've been asked to share my research on circadian rhythms and sleep for entrepreneurs on a lot of different podcasts and events that I've been to. I've been asked to talk about how people like us sleep and what the effect of sleep is on people like us, and how do we get into really healthy, productive, supportive sleep patterns. As a result, a lot of the conversation in our groups is around sleep and health and wellness and creating momentum and supporting your body. And so every once in a while, I'll get a question in one of my groups that is something that creates a lot of conversation, and I want to share it with you so I can share my opinion with you. So this is the question we got. It says, okay, I have a super weird question. I've been doing a sleep cycle that's like this. I work all night. Then I sleep 14 hours, then I sleep 8 hours the next night, then I work all night the next night, then I sleep 14 hours, then I sleep 8 hours. And I feel so alive with this. I'm getting way more big things done. I have more energy. I feel fulfilled. My family prefers it. Is it okay to try this for a while? This is the happiest I've ever been. So am I crazy with this? Well, when I first read this post, my instinct was to make a comment as quickly as I possibly could because I did not want this taking off and being a new strategy that people in my group used. Because any expert on sleep will tell you that the pattern that I just read is incredibly destructive and could actually cause massive damage for anybody who's doing it. In fact, here's what happens when you miss a night of sleep. Your body almost immediately goes into on alert and towards fight or flight because not sleeping makes you impaired. It actually can impair you as much as drinking. So think about that. You're skipping nights of sleep, then you're driving around with your kids. You are impaired. You're not 100% there. When this discussion continued in the Facebook group, I had a couple other people say, well, I skip nights of sleep sometimes too, and it does make me a little cranky. Well, it doesn't just make you cranky. It is so much more than making you cranky. When you skip a night of sleep, you completely throw off your entire circadian rhythm. So the rhythm that your body uses to get you up, to keep you focused, to keep you aware throughout the day, to keep the right chemical composition in the body so that you are present and aware and focused is completely thrown off, and it goes into a panic mode. It starts using thyroid and adrenaline and hormones that it normally wouldn't use just to keep you at some type of stasis or even keel. Not sleeping creates massive impairment. It creates massive cognitive impairment, massive emotional impairment, and massive connective impairment. In fact, it is proven that when you skip sleep, you're not as emotionally connected to those around you, and you're not as empathetic to those around you. So if you're an entrepreneur who's leading a movement, who's building a tribe, empathy is how we relate to the people around us. Empathy is how we understand what our customers need. Skipping sleep actually removes our ability to be empathetic. It lowers the ability you have to create empathy and to empathize with those around you. But that's not all. See, when I read this sleep schedule, what I read is a schedule of somebody who is trying to maximize the amount that they can personally do. It's somebody who's trying to work all the time. It's somebody who's trying to see how much can they actually have happen. And here's why I'm against not only this sleep schedule, because it's unhealthy, because it's going to destroy you, because of everything else, but because if you're in my group and you're at $1 million or more, or you're at several $100,000 or more, this is the sleep schedule of somebody who is going to do. It is not the sleep schedule of someone who's going to have done. And the switch from doing to having things done is the switch from doing it yourself to leading the people around you. And I have news for you. If you're skipping nights of sleep, you are damaging your team. If you are not taking care of yourself and present and aware, you are a punitive leader and your team is afraid to tell you about it. And if you're doing things like creating a crazy sleep schedule or working all the time or doing some other over-the-top strategy, if it in any way impairs your ability to be present, impairs your ability to relate to the people around you, or impairs the ability that you have to hear what is going on for your team, then it is damaging and it's not progressive. And as far as the feeling of feeling the best you ever have in your life, or getting so much done, or, this is the happiest I've ever been, well, let me tell you why. If you start a sleep schedule like this, here's what happens. Your body actually goes into a panic mode. And your body, your entire organism has one goal: to keep you alive. And if you go into a place where you stop sleeping, where you're not taking care of yourself, where you are not actually replenishing the body, here's what the body does. It starts dumping hormones to keep you in stasis and to keep you working in the right direction. So why might you feel so good and have such a fulfilling and incredible experience here? Well, because your body is using thyroid and adrenaline and serotonin and dopamine, if it can get any, and it's overloading you. You're using cortisols, you're using stress hormones, you're putting your body into the place where you're in a fight or flight mode, which causes a temporary boost in metabolism, boost in your immune system, and boosting your ability to fight off disease. But it is temporary, it is short, and when it goes away, there is a massive crash. Because your body is trying to keep you alive, it will use whatever it can when it thinks you are in fight or flight. And then the second it realizes you aren't, it'll pull it all back and you will crash like crazy. So that euphoric feeling of causing massive stress in your body and feeling like it's the most productive you've ever been, or the most fulfilled you've ever been, or the best you've ever felt, it is a feeling that is misleading, because it's your body trying to stay alive, trying to make sure that the organism, you don't die, but it's also burning through all kinds of hormones and chemicals that it shouldn't be burning through. You're essentially redlining the body without replenishment, without sleep, without restoring the body. That is not how any of us should try and live. And the challenge is, when you switch from doing it all to having it done, here's what you also need to know that you switch from. You switch from actually doing activity to leading activity. That is a tectonic, massive, complete and total shift. Because to go from doing to leading, the amount of awareness that is required is exponentially greater. To go from doing to leading, you have to go from managing yourself and your emotions to being able to clearly communicate to a team, to hold them accountable, to be supportive, to make them feel safe, to make them feel like they have a really high chance of success. When you can pull that off as an entrepreneur, that's when your team actually wins and grows. But you're not going to be able to do that if you're not sleeping, if you're not present, if you're not seeing what is going on with your team. When you're skipping sleep, when you're doing everything, you're trying to achieve everything. But when you start growing a business, you have to go from trying to achieve everything to teaching your team to achieve, to setting the people up around you to achieve. This means you need to learn who they are, their personality, their strengths, their challenges. What is it that they're bringing to the table, and how are they going to help your business grow? Those questions are not simple, trivial questions to answer, but they are absolutely required of any leader who expects to effectively lead human beings over time and create a successful team. And the challenge with those questions is that we have to be there, be aware, be present, and have all of our faculties in order to answer them. Because if you're like me, you're probably not the best at reading people. You're probably not the best at understanding people. If you are, consider yourself lucky. You have an advantage here, but that doesn't mean you should create a disadvantage by skipping sleep, by overworking yourself, and by not taking care of yourself. And then the last point here that I want to make on any type of work strategy that causes you to increase the pressure and noise in your life is that eventually it's going to cause massive constraint. Skipping sleep is not a success strategy. Skipping sleep is a desperation strategy. Skipping sleep is a I don't know what I'm going to do with my life strategy. Skipping sleep is a I'm at my last wit's end strategy. And skipping sleep, let's be honest, it's a strategy used by people who take drugs and do all kinds of other crazy stuff that you probably wouldn't do. And so when it comes to getting productivity out of yourself for your business, when it comes to getting what you want done for your business and making things happen, instead of going to extremes, here's a simple way to look at it. The more you take care of yourself and the more presence and awareness you can create for yourself on a daily basis, the faster your business is going to scale and grow, and the faster the people around you are going to scale and grow. The fact is that self-care is a gateway drug to success. Self-care is a massive shortcut to success, but so little of us use it because self-care in the moment feels slow, and it doesn't feel exciting, and it doesn't feel different, and it doesn't feel novel or innovative like staying up all night or getting some crazy sleep schedule. But the reality is that wildly successful people, when tracked over time, are creatures of habit and routine. They get up at the same time. They go to sleep at the same time. They have a routine that physiologically supports their body, and then they can cognitively create their success. They have the mental awareness to create their success. So I realize there are a ton of new strategies in the entrepreneurial world today. I've heard all kinds, like this sleep schedule is crazy, but I've also heard another one where you work for 4 hours, sleep a half hour, work for 4 hours, sleep a half hour, work for 4 hours, sleep a half hour. And that way, in every 24 hours, you only sleep 3 hours. I can't imagine what someone looks like after 5 or 6 days of that, but I've heard of people trying all different types of strategies like this. Let me present you with an alternative strategy. Take care of yourself like you're a professional athlete. Make sure that you are present and aware and have all of your faculties at any given time, and you are as optimized as any human being around you. Make sure that when you show up to a meeting, if it's going to go long, you can take every single person in the room to the deep end of the pool, be present and aware, and get more out of that meeting than anybody else. And when you're leading people, take care of yourself at a level that when you show up, you are grounded, you're present, you're aware, you hear your team when they communicate with you, and you can communicate with them in a way that they hear you consistently. If you do these things rather than crazy, over-the-top, self-defeating strategies, if you do these things, if you are present, if you're aware, if you show up for your team, if you can hear them, if they can hear you, if you can create the future, if you can go into the present, go into the future, create a new reality, then come back to the present and insist it becomes real. That's what we want to do as entrepreneurs. That's who we are as entrepreneurs. And that's what ultimate success looks like. So in order to create the company you want, become the person who can run it. Be more present, be more aware, create the strategies that help you do those things, put the keystone habits in place that keep you there, hydrate on a daily basis, breathe, move, eat foods that physiologically support your body, and you will see your entire success explode. There's no shortcuts when it comes to taking care of yourself, but the more you do, the more success you'll experience. If you're ready to put the keystone habits into your life that are going to physiologically support you and create more success, I want to help you. I created a product exactly for entrepreneurs like you and I who want to do more, be more, show up in the world in a bigger way, and get more out of their businesses. It's called Momentum Masterclass, and it includes the keystone habits that will change your life. In fact, Misha, who's a new member of my team, just a couple days ago has been going through Momentum Masterclass, and on our huddle, she suggested that we nominate our team for a Nobel Peace Prize because Momentum Masterclass makes such a massive difference in your life. If you are ready to be able to do more, achieve more, have hyper focus, and achieve your goals on a monthly basis, go to momentummasterclass.com, check out the short presentation there, join the course, and I can't wait to see you in the Facebook group, momentummasterclass.com.